Today, we're talking about the brand new Lamborghini Revuelto. This is the all-new hybrid supercar that blurs the line between supercar and hypercar. We're going to break down some very important aspects that are not being talked about or covered as much online. They should. We're going to reveal them, and we're going to find out what you think. Some of these characteristics we're going to talk about are very critical to supercar performance and a result of going down the hybrid route. This new Lamborghini marks a brand new generation, whereas every Lamborghini coming forward will have some form of electrification. Right away, this all-new Aventador replacement has a ton of horsepower, over 1,000 horsepower, specifically targeting the likes of the Ferrari SF90 Stradale. It seems like the Revuelto has a really good chance at taking down that king with a naturally aspirated V12 that is brand new. 813 horsepower is coming out of that engine, and it redlines at 9,500 RPM. That leads us to a power-to-weight ratio of roughly 3.6 to 3.7 pounds per horsepower. The team specifically designed it knowing this all-new generation was coming, and they wanted to go down the route of not trying to abide by the electrification. No, they wanted to create an all-new V12 that amplifies all of the characteristics that we know and love from Lamborghini's V12s in the past, with the Aventadors, the SVJs, even the Ultimates, which is why the sound that this V12 produces is unreal. As you'd expect, this all-new hybrid supercar shares the same style axial flux motors as the competitors. This is all-wheel drive, 0 to 62 miles an hour in just 2.5 seconds, and a top speed of 217 miles an hour. I really do love the vertical doors, the Lamborghini doors. You have to have them for this level, the V12. You have the Y-shaped design of the dashboard and center console, the signature Lamborghini Aventador / Huracan wedge. Design cues from all sorts of different hypercars Lamborghini has made. 20-inch wheels up front with the 21s out back. That's a huge contact patch. 265s with 345s, plus an active rear wing featuring 3 positions according to the driving modes and what is happening dynamically. That leads me to the main point of this video. What does this mean going down this route of having electric motors, electric battery components? The new Revuelto looks amazing in every single way. I'd love to have one. It's just stunning. It's beautiful. However, I am concerned about the weight, because having all this extra technology and the electric motors, this will add weight. Even though that this engine weighs roughly 17 kilograms less than the prior Aventador V12, and it has swapped the engine layout 180 degrees so that the transmission is behind the engine towards the exhaust, a new transaxle type setup from Lamborghini. If we look at the technical specifications from Lamborghini's website, it does say the dry weight is 1,772 kilograms with a 44% front and 56% rear weight distribution. If we do the calculations to the American metrics of a kilogram to pounds, that leads us to roughly 3,900 pounds. That is dry weight. That's without fluids. There are a lot of fluids, I say, that go into a V12, also when it comes to the brake fluid, the cooling, you name it, even for the transmission. Roughly, from my data, from looking at all cars that go from dry to wet weight, which is the weight that you buy it with, you can see a 200 to 300 pound difference. If you throw that in, the weight that you deal with when you buy the car, because no one will ever own a Revuelto with the dry weight, you're looking at a 4,000 plus pound Lamborghini with 1,000 horsepower. I'm not saying it won't be fast. I think it's gonna be blisteringly fast. It's gonna be unreal. I can't wait to find out more about it. If you're expecting more vehicles that weigh less in the years to come, I don't think we're gonna see that. It's not, I would say, necessarily the manufacturer's fault, because they are keeping that soul of the Lamborghini name, the V12. The engine is not gonna weigh as little as a 3-liter 6-cylinder 120 degree layout from Ferrari or McLaren. They chose to slim down their engines. Lamborghini wants to preserve their soul of the Raging Bull V12, and I can't believe they did. I'm happy because this means that that sound will no longer go away. Who's gonna complain about the weight of their Lamborghini Revuelto? You're not gonna see it. Only for people who go to the racetrack, then you'll start noticing how you'll go through tires faster or other components faster because there's more weight that you have to slow down, turn, and rotate for each corner. At the same time, increased weight can improve grip in some scenarios. Plus the downforce, this has got over 60% more downforce than a standard Aventador. That's a lot. And it's active too, with not only an active rear spoiler, but also a front active setup with flaps. That is high tech. When you look at the SF90, the dry weight is roughly 3,600 pounds. It's got a similar amount of horsepower, 986. When you throw in the wet weight, then yeah, you're getting closer to 4,000 pounds. Will this hinder the Lamborghini Revuelto? Acceleration, you won't really notice it too much because it will probably launch even harder because there's more weight just sitting there. I do think with the carbon fiber monocoque, it is going to take things to a whole new level because the monocoque wraps over the roof. It's similar to the Aventador, but it is redesigned. The fuselage looks much more advanced, even having the forged front components. The battery cells are actually going down a tunnel directly in the middle of the car. You see the same setup from Ferrari and even Corvette, Team Corvette. For the gearbox, you have a DCT finally. A DCT in an Aventador type variant? Oh, can't count me in. I think that's gonna be unreal. No one can ever complain about the shift speed for an Aventador ever again. I know it's not an Aventador, but hey, this is basically the replacement, isn't it? This is good. This is fantastic to hear. Regarding suspension, you do have the Magnaride front and rear double wishbone suspension with the LMR dampers. Steering is still electric power steering, which, hey, that's what Lamborghini is good at. They don't quite dabble into the hydraulic assisted steering. You do have a new EV driving mode for the city that actually stands for city, and that's going to turn the entire car basically into an EV, but limit the amount of horsepower you can get out of the engine. Turning on the engine, it'll recharge the batteries in just 6 minutes. That's like a new record, isn't it, for a hybrid supercar? This sets a whole new bar. The interior is brand new. The exterior is brand new. The design is surreal. Even the steering wheel, I'm particularly pumped up for, with all these new mode selectors and hexagons and rough edges. I am pumped. Please let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of what we've talked about here, of these data points that you haven't really heard being talked about quite extensively yet? Is this going to be a deal breaker, or is it not going to really matter? I know for the majority of Aventadors I see, the weight doesn't really hold them back too much because people still love them and enjoy them. I enjoy them. If you can use weight to your advantage, then you can really minimize the disadvantage. This is where it's going to get exciting because technology always supersedes everything else. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for much more great content coming out your way. Stay tuned for more access to this vehicle. I cannot wait to find out what it can do, plus even on the racetrack. I'll see all of you in the next episode.